Uh, Welcome to Under the Tides episode 2. This is still just amazing that we get to do this. So, episode 2, I'm sorry, I get my Twitch stream around my phone so I can see some stuff as well. Episode 2 is pretty awesome. This is all about the last episode we played on Tuesday and the absolute insanity, I guess, that ensued. There was a lot that went on in this episode. If you haven't watched it yet, it's still live on Twitch, but it's also going to be on our replays coming on Monday on our YouTube. The links are below in the About section. You can click those; they give you all the stuff you need to know. But let's get into this. Let's get into the GM behind the screen, or in this case, under the tides of the game we just played. Also, I feel like we need some mood music, right? Who's with me on this one? Let's get up some of this Harris Heller stuff. Apparently Harris has got there's a hip hop version here somewhere. I did not know was a thing. So we're gonna, is it lifestyle? Is that it? Well, I like this. We'll go with this. Hopefully you guys can hear this on stream as well. So, last episode, notes on my phone here. We started off with a bang in episode 2. I want every episode to start off where you're engaged. And that has been my goal as someone running this as a GM and someone who has ran this stuff for a long time. Like just as a GM, I wanted to make sure bringing the best show I could bring to you by doing so. So in doing so, I needed to do something a little bit different. I needed to make sure that we weren't sitting around hemming and hawing and figuring out what it is we were going to do, because that does absolutely nothing. And that absolutely nothing is no fun. So to do that, we decided to start the chase scene. And by we, I mean me. They didn't know it was happening. I fast forwarded us into the actual adventure. So we did the last episode. They landed at the air tower at the end of that episode. That's what we were saying. They basically left the first episode where they fought the Ether Witch and then made their way to the tower. And with that tower, I wanted to make sure that we explained it well enough in the movement forward, that they've already parked, the Whisper was docked, and that they have made their way out into the city to reset up the Ethergraph. Ethergraph in Othantia is like the idea of, how do I best explain this? It's the idea of a telegraph, but instead of being a telegraph, they actually use a spirit that they stick in, and that spirit sends a message basically through a bargaining relationship. Like, hey, please go here as your task for the day to help us out. Can you please go take this message from Merrifield, where we're at, to New Bolivar? And that's what they were going to do. But the actual Ethergraph, the lines that are needed to run it, were broken down. And I wanted to make sure that part of the adventure wasn't the real part of the adventure. I wanted the adventure to feel like it was a big epic moment. So I let them kind of walk through the area, and I really wanted to show off blue tiles, new maps. I love what Jason's doing. Jason Bowman, who created Pathfinder, which is down over here. He's also an architect. That's what he did for a long time previously. And these maps show it, the way they connect together, what they do, especially the rooftops. Those are really cool. He's got like caps for them and everything. And I wanted to use that in a way that we were able to show off the city they're going to, which they ended up destroying part of the city anyway with cannons from the ship. Every time they think cannons are going to be an answer, there's going to be a downfall, and they're running out of ammo. So we did that, and they went into what used to be the telegraph office. They encountered some ghouls, some ether ghouls, or at least that's what they think they are. And between me and you, they're not ether ghouls. They're not even regular ghouls. They are something totally different. Yeah. Thanks, Oliver. Right. So it's totally different, and they're still trying to figure that out. And I'm sure Nora will figure that out because that's what Nora does. And then they went inside the telegraph office. They found a survivor, Terry, MVP of the show, I think is what we were told. Terry's MVP. Run for your life. Run like you stole something. So Terry, this half-orc, the lone survivor of Merrifield, they think, is who they kind of took and brought back to the ship. But I wanted the trip back to be the episode. The trip back and up the tower. I knew it was going to be a really impactful moment. And then we were going to do 2 weeks of downtime because the ship, after its repairs, is going to leave for 2 weeks and come back. And they're going to come back with supplies and all that kind of stuff. But this is going to give the players a chance to set up shop and build stuff. And it's also going to give you, the audience, a chance to do that with us. So our next episode is October 6th. And in this episode, they basically got it to where the tides are gone now. They're in the beginning of cleaning out the city and really, really setting themselves up at a slow pace. And I'm going to introduce our loot cards. And I finally nailed it. Like I've done loot cards on another show, and I love what they do for audience participation, but I don't like how much it interrupts the show that we are doing and this story we're telling. So I wanted to find, how do you marry those and not turn it into just this fucking clusterfuck? So we do the chase scene, and while we're doing the chase scene through this old wrecked city, it started to come to me then, where I was like, man, they're gonna have to rebuild this place. How are we gonna do it? And so we did the chase scene. And I love Pathfinder's new victory points. It's almost like tabletop wargaming, but they have victory points that are, you achieve victory points to achieve a grander goal. And they have like different difficulty levels with them that you can do. But they have a chase scene version where you're earning chase points to get away. And the people getting chased and the kind of chase we did go first. And then in reaction, the people chasing them also go. And you are playing a battle up in scale to who can hit 21st. And I was failing a lot of my rolls in the back end. Players, I don't think, knew I was rolling. I think they just thought I was reacting what they're doing. But they were chasing as well to achieve those same goals. And these creatures, the Akata, as they found out later, which is one of my favorite creatures that come out in Pathfinder 1, and I love the new Pathfinder 2 version. They are lion-like tentacle beasts from the stars at Hardworld. And I think they were from the stars in Pathfinder as well. Well, though, they were chasing. And I also wanted a ginormous, like a large one that could actually threaten the ship if it got to it. So as they're running through between the carts and those ghouls, they still don't understand, crash 2 carts together, they level firearms. So now they know they're intelligent enough to shoot guns. Almost hit Voss during this chase scene. And as they're getting out into the big open field and Everston's clearing a path, the big one shows up through the tide, like hopping through. And it's this 2-headed, huge kata. And I really wanted to do something epic with it. So I was like, well, this thing's going to scale. It's going to scale this and go. And I thought that maybe there would be a problem with that. If it got to the ship, it would destroy the ship. And I don't think Alan, the guy playing Oliver, would ever forget me if I destroyed the Whisper in the first episode. So instead, I wanted it to turn into him trying to get the crew as they were going up this tower. And of course, Nora, out of her back pocket, first she has the suspenders. That's clipped, by the way, because it was fucking awesome. And the second thing she ends up doing is like, I'm going to leave my body. And I didn't even contemplate that. I thought for sure I was going to have Everston alone in that elevator. That was my guess. But Nora went with him, dividing the party in half. And I know a lot of GMs and players say don't split the party, but our group has done it forever, because if something's more than you, as long as the GM gives you a little bit of a warning, like this is probably more than both of you can handle, you can do it, but it's dangerous. I like split parties. I really enjoy it. I feel like the split party brings that cinematic dynamic that is missing from most tabletop games. So we said, fuck it, let's go. And we went with it. And they know I'll run split parties all day long. But I did not expect Nora to be in that elevator. As a GM, I was like, oh, that was sneaky. Good on you. So they get in the elevator and they go up, and the fight in there is very brief because Everston is more than capable of destroying these ghoul-like creatures, and they can't feed off him. You know, I mean, they can't eat him or anything. He's metal and leather and cables and stuff. And then in the stairwell going up, the Voss and Oliver dynamic is just, I couldn't have wrote it. Him deciding to empty all of his bullets out, pop them, his packets, because he's using a single shot still. He's taking all the powder and making a bomb out of it. That I was like, well, I'll roll it secretly, because I love rolling big moments where a roll matters, having it out in the open. But other rolls, it takes too much time to do that in the open all the time. Like, unless it's a game where your rolls are very minimal, I hate doing that every single time. But for this one, I was like, this is make or break. Like, if they don't make it to the top and that bomb goes off and it blows him apart, he is absolutely fucked. So I wanted to do it that way. I wanted it to be a surprise. I could have just waited. And say, hey, Oliver, when it's time, roll. But the pressure that me rolling puts on the player, because he has no skill in it and he knows he just made a choice that was detrimental to at least half the party and Terry, the last half orc on Earth, or in Cadra, which is not true. There's many of them. That was detrimental. We could have wiped the party out doing that. So we looked over everything and decided that we didn't want. I looked over everything. I decided I didn't want to have that chase mechanic in the tower. Instead, I wanted to go to round by round for that, to add a different element to the game. It was still a chase, but it was such a short distance. I wanted to be a little more impactful, let them have combat and do stuff. They could have turned around, and combat could have been their answer. During the chase scene, we saw Oliver Terrell crack shot one. So those were options, but it was their choice to use the skill or abilities they wanted to use for it. And those chase scenes are just wild. So as this all goes through, the episode was literally just about setting that telegraph back up, the ether graph. They get it set back up. They send Jin, which is the spirit that they have with them from one of the precursor games that we did. More will come out about him. Maybe I'll do a spot on him. If you guys want to see a spot, drop comments when this is on YouTube, or say something over in the stream chat here. But he is a liaison between the Emerald Order and this crew that has been sent out to do it. So let me see if I can find. Looking at my. So this is the notebook I'm using right now until I get the new Rook and Raven stuff to come in. I always use little notebooks for things I can put in my pocket and write them when I'm out and about. That's kind of like something as a GM I've always done. But when they did their first couple episodes before we started filming and recording this and streaming it, they were dealing with Ro Anderson. He's the director of expansion, and that he gave Jin to the group to come with as liaison. So when I asked, do you want him to leave? I was basically given the option, do you want another combatant in case things go wrong, or do you want him to send message? If they would not have sent that message, the Whisper would not have been as prepared as it was. And I think they would have lost more crew, or they might have even got to the top of that tower and the Whisper might have been gone. Like, they might have had to bail, you know what I mean? Like, actually fly up so they didn't lose the ship. They would have had to find a way to survive. Ooh, man. God, that could have went south really bad. But instead, they sent the message. So they loaded cannons. They got ready. They started doing what they need to do. And people have been trained to fight a kata. They're not as dangerous as they were the first time I used them, when none of my players had any idea what they do. In this case, they were kind of prepared. They put salt and water, got what they wanted, and went for it. And I think that was the thing that made the big difference. Like, honestly, that might have been the smartest decision for them to say yes to that instead of staying and keeping him as a combatant. And Jin can fight when he takes on that actual corporeal form. So I don't know. I think that was pretty intelligent, pretty smart. But I haven't seen many streams where chase scenes were done well. And I think that was one of my main goals going in, was to make a chase scene enjoyable. Like, I always related back to having to handle air-to-air combat in like Star Wars and stuff like that. And that becomes a problem where people just don't fucking know how to run it as players and GM, I think the camera cuts and describing the scenes and keeping the momentum going for that is really what drives it. Max earlier, one of the guys who watches the stream, had asked me a question of like he would love to see a stream that we do that is about what ifs, like what if they would have done that. And I thought about it, and I'm okay with it for someone like the tower scene. 100%. What if? What if that person didn't make it? Well, if he didn't make it, it would have gotten real bad real fast. And he did make it, though, so we didn't have to worry about that. Jin made it there, and Jin got to tell the whisper. The other what-if moment there, I think, that a lot of people were waiting for that we didn't get to do is, what if that person doesn't make it? What if they fail one of their fucking checks? I think a lot of people were waiting for that moment. Someone fails a check, what happens? And the first 10 points before they got to the break between the city and the tower, it would have just been a kata where the ghouls attacking them or them getting trapped and the tides washing over them, having that chance of tides inflicting bleak on them. And then I think the second half, they probably would have got hit by a pack of the Akata. And the group would have had to make that decision of like, how do we get them? Are we turning and fighting this? Or are we leaving them behind? I don't know what the PCs would have done in that case. I've put this group in some really tense situations before. And I don't know how they would have handled that. If they're in the chat, they could tell me. But I think the idea of leaving a party member behind this early, they might have done it. To be honest with you, they might have done it. And Todd would have had to make more artwork. It would have been something else, man. But they didn't. They didn't leave him behind. They made sure that he made it out alive. You know what I mean? Like it's. So I think that the party, is a good mix, and I'm curious to see how they handle some of these really tense situations that are coming up. There's a lot of tense situations specifically with dealing with the dead. Like, so earlier today, we recorded our second side quest. If you haven't seen the first one, it's over on our YouTube under Erik Frankhouse Presents. There's, again, links below for that. And that one was with Voss and Oliver, because Oliver killed off his engineers and had to find a way to replace them. And the only way to do that was to get Voss to do it. Who was saying no on stream. He's like, no, not my job. But he ended up doing it. And at least until they find someone else to pick up the slack. But I don't know. I think they would have had to find someone to make it happen. I don't know how they would have done that. I don't know how they would have found someone else to pick up that slack in the city. They may have had to send back for somebody in New Boulevard and ship them in. It might have been the only way. They might have been without the ship for a while, without having the lead engineer. Limping that back to New Boulevard could have been pretty dangerous. They might have had to send someone by foot. And if that would have happened, I probably would have made the players make the fucking trip themselves by foot, which would have been mind-boggling hard. They would have had to prep here before they go back. Like, the Whisper might have been decommissioned for a while, or at least damaged in a way that they wouldn't be able to. But they succeeded. The group's done pretty well. They've succeeded in most of the tasks. I'm trying to keep the DCs at an appropriate level for Pathfinder 2E. It's still a little bit of a balancing act. I don't have that mastered yet. The DCs are different than 5E or PF1. And I have a little cheat sheet. I mean, that's all. I really only need the DCs to run the game in a successful way and then learn the rest of the rules as we're going. But I think those are the 3 points I would hit on. I think one of them getting left behind during the chase scene. I think one of them, if something would have happened to them in the air tower, getting back to Whisper, if they wouldn't have gotten the message back to the Whisper, that could have been really detrimental to the party. And I do think that pulling the Whisper away instead of fighting the Akata was smart as well. So they shot that oversized Akata. They didn't. I mean, they heard it, but not a lot. It's large and has a lot of damage resistance unless there's salt involved. So that was kind of one of those things where I was like, well, you can stick around if you want, but this isn't going to go well. And it's every other round to reload it. It just, oh God, that would have been horrible. Oh, I do think too, if they would have pressed the ghouls in the city too hard to find out more information, I think that could have gotten pretty dangerous as well. And they didn't. And they didn't even investigate the bodies. Nora, I think we were saying Nora's going to do that during the downtime, the 2 weeks. She's going to look into the bodies that are drained of all their fluids. I think that's one of the things we're talking about. Or Voss will, one of the two. So we'll get a little bit of information about that. In our Discord channel, we are doing discussions between one another about what we're doing during the downtime. And that brings us, I guess, to the next big thing. Oh, I know. No one wanted to risk it. I know. Nora's in chat right now. I think too, coming up, the cool thing, and this is, I guess, the big part of today, under the ties, behind the scene, is this. As a group, we are trying to figure out how we wanted to use stream loot cards as a way to have the audience interact with us and not be intrusive, interruptive. We also wanted a way for it to be a way for you to support us besides just getting merch. Like, not everybody wants merch. And we wanted to have a way to do that as well. And the loot cards are cool. They're pretty cost effective. They don't cost a lot. And if you're at the pre-show for at least the next couple, we're going to give a few packs out just to see how it works. I have a lot of faith in it, being that I worked in video games. I like the concept for the stream loot cards. I like the concept. They're good. But what we're doing is very different. So pull this back out. So for stream loots, what we're going to be doing is our stream loot cards are going to offer a variety of city help. So right now, as I was pointed out to me, is we have downtime. They're like, we're broke. We don't have any money. What are we doing? There's going to be actions that they're going to be able to do with DC checks to rebuild the city. So for example, one of them is cleaning up the surrounding area of the Everston estate. You need X amount of people to do it, and it takes X amount of time. And in doing so, you can now start using those buildings on the estate. Not the manor itself, because they don't have a way in yet. And that is going to be a pretty important piece. There's also stuff like finding supplies in the city, sending scavenging teams out into the city to find stuff and bring it back to help rebuild. But the cards are going to allow the people watching to give out gales and gusts. Gusts are like silver, gales are like gold to the players, and it goes into the coffers for the city to be rebuilt. And then there are NPCs for Merrifield. There are civilians, which will help raise in numbers. And those chunks of numbers let them take more actions when they're doing their downtime to rebuild the city. So instead of hiring a team, you're helping provide a team and being part of it. And then there are craftsmen at different levels of how good they are, and that trained, expert, mastered, legendary. Those are the kind of things too that you're going to be able to do, is donate those cards together and give like a blacksmith that can do up to 5th level items, so they can have a craft or build stuff for them. Same thing for the gunsmith. There's a soul stallion crafter that's going to be level 5 and level 10. What's up, Spigs? How you doing, buddy? And that's going to be pretty awesome. Like, you are able to help provide the things in the city and build it with them by providing these cards. And there's going to be some crazy stuff in there, and there's going to be some one-time legendaries that are like, if they happen, it's something that's found or built in the city, and once they're gone, they're gone. That legendary may not come up again for a while, because I can turn the cards on and off. And if a player gets left with a card that is a legendary, and I turn those cards off, I will turn it on so you can break that card down and use them to build other things. So, and it'll only be for specific cards. Nothing will be able to be disenchanted until it's basically put in the back catalog and not in use anymore. So I don't want your money that you are supporting us with to go to waste. So you're going to be able to rebuild other cards with that, which will be pretty cool. And then there will also be some important missions and things that will come up out of those cards that take a couple to build. And the way the cards work are some of them are just be like a card and you just play it and it gives money. Like the Gust and the Gales will be one card. One's like a common, one's a rare, one's a epic, one's a legendary. And it's amounts of money. But things that are like NPCs for Merrifield, real important NPCs, you need 2 of that card. They merge together and you can play it and make them. And that allow an NPC to be in the village. And those NPCs can be really anything. They can just be people to help craft. They could be people who run milk. It could be a True Faith member. There'll be a table when that's played that I will roll on that will add something to the city. And then our goal is to have a running map with a stat sheet of what's in the city and what's available. I don't know where I'm going to post that at. I think it's just going to be in the state of the Under the Tides video, or maybe I'll do a third stream during the week that's specifically for the city building and city planning, taking all those cards in and using them. And then the way those cards will work is during the pre-show and during intermission, those cards can be played because there will be sometimes specific cards for an episode. Like if somebody gets a card that is something they're looking for, like a key to a building or something, a player might be able to play that and give them that key to the building that was found earlier by the citizens that are living there. And in this case, what this makes it is the people who are donating the cards and playing in stream loots, you become the citizens of the city. Like you help build the city up and help the adventurers do what they're doing. And I have some idea for legendary cards we've talked about where maybe like you can become an NPC in the city, like a legendary NPC in the city. But there's some rules and stipulations for that I would have to have. Like I'm not having goofball shitty names, like things like that my group knows I just don't want. So I would have to work with that person. But if you get that card, I can email or text back and forth or whatever. And we can set up that person. So that's going to be kind of cool. I also are doing in-game ones as well. It's not all just the stream loots for building the city, but that's a chunk of them. Other ones are going to be hero points with each one of the NPC names. We're also going to do the small, medium, and large impromptu objects that Everston can pull out of the environment and use. So someone can play that card in a scene and it'll go on a cooldown, but he can pick that item up in the scene. And I basically have urban. Well, right now it's wreckage, house, field, crater, and 3 others that I don't want to say anything about because I don't want to give episodes away, but 3 other important ones. Oh, an airship. That's the other one, the airship itself, the Whisper. And when someone plays the scene we're in, I'll roll, and then that'll go on cooldown, but that will give Everston an object for that scene, which I'm pretty excited for. So that's what we're doing with the stream loot cards. But I think that's all the big stuff that I have to talk about on the things coming up. Our next stream isn't till the 6th. But our replay for our second episode goes up Monday, and then our side quest between Everston and Nora, which we just filmed today, goes up on Tuesday. They're like an hour to 2 hour long block where you just kind of watch it, learn about the characters, learn about what's going on, and that takes place right after the first episode. Like these 2 downtime weeks, theirs is taking place during that. So no flashbacks for that one, sort of, but I don't want to ruin anything for you. And we learned that Everston is really needs a skill that he is missing, and he found out the hard way. You'll see that at the end of the video. It was super enjoyable. That was like my moment during that. But I love that we're doing this, and the big thing we have to announce is this. So this stream today is our 7th stream that we need to get us affiliate. This will get us affiliate. So we've done affiliate, and we've gotten it in roughly, what would it be, 18 days? I guess we started on the 1st. So in 18 days, we're getting our affiliate as a tabletop RPG group. If they accept us, who knows? Maybe they don't like that I fucking swear. But we're going to be getting affiliate. I'm super excited. You guys have supported us through this, and it has been awesome. Yes, I know, Spigs. I'm so pumped about it. So for those who are wondering right now, we're at 61 followers. We got a couple over between Tuesday and now. We've streamed for 17.4 hours. We're 6 of 7 for our stream on different days. This will get us our last one. And we're averaging 8 viewers roughly for the hours that we streamed at a time. And I'm ecstatic about that. That puts us in like this weird 1% category of people who have done that in tabletop. And it's cool. It's a bunch of people who, I mean, besides myself, I think I'm the only person who has done streaming for tabletop RPGs online out of our group. And then myself and Todd have worked professionally in the industry. He did the paper minis for Pathfinder for Oney for a lot of the adventure paths, which are amazing if you don't have them. I may flip some of those and bring them into the show. And then myself working as a cartographer and designer for stuff. We're just a bunch of people who love the game that have, I think, really great stories to tell together. And that's why we decided to do it. And it's been a long time coming. Drew has asked me, the guy who plays Voss, numerous times, when are you giving me the world map for Athontia? Do you have the map done for this? And he wants all this stuff because he runs it to his home setting out in LA. So it has been a pretty crazy ride over these 18 days. Lots of hard work from the cast and everything, and getting this up and running. But it's been fantastic. So I think the closing thing I have for that is this. If you want to support the show, obviously the first thing, follow and subscribe and share and do all that normal stuff that everyone tells you to do. Click the bell, do this, do that. But our YouTube, we're trying to get people over on that as well. So once we can get 1,000 subscribers there, we can start doing more on that channel. Like, we don't even get a custom link to our website for YouTube until that happens. It's kind of weird. But once that happens, we'll go with that. And sorry, switching this song. I never know what I'm going to give the Harris Heller songs. And then I think on top of that, the other things you can do is we have merch and then Norse Foundry. Norse Foundry, 15% off. All cap Athontia, 15% off your entire order at Norse Foundry. They have new stuff coming out all the time. They make some of the best stone dice. They sent me some obsidian ones. This is what I've been using for the stream right now. We have some secret stuff going on with them that I'm pretty excited about. I'm not going to say too much about that until we finalize things. And then blue maps. That's Jason Bowman, like I said, doing the blue tiles. They're on Roll20. They are fantastic. He has a new show out right now, too, called Maul, where they're pitting two monster squads, basically, against each other to fight in an arena. Super cool. They did their first one, which I think was kobolds versus ogres, and I'm positive you know how that turned out. And then our shop has a link below, and we have shirts, hoodies, 2 different mugs. One's the House Hastings symbol. The other one's just our rough logo for everything, like the logo that you see below me right now. But the last one is my favorite out of all of them, is the new XXL mouse pad that came out. That is the background that you see, the gorgeous wallpaper that Snow made for us, in conjunction with some extra monogram work that I did for our show. So it's been awesome. It's been super fun. What's up, buddy? Speaking of Voss right here. So those are all ways you can help support us in what we're doing and dive into it. So normally I cut this show short, but since we're going to get the affiliate today, I kind of came here to do some Q&A if anyone has questions. And I know we have some cast here, and the cast is... But you always do something wrong. The cast is more than welcome to ask questions too. So if there's anything during the streams from the cast that I did not answer during the gameplay in our fucking freight train of motion, feel free to ask as well. Or any questions in general. Really just a little bit of a Q&A to say thank you to everyone who supported us. So if you guys have questions, want to know things, what's up, Amir? My buddy Trickster here. He played Blue Demon for years. Spigs is one of the main 3 dudes who run Cypher Unlimited, if you're Cypher Unlimited fans. KJ, she plays Nora on the stream. So if you guys got questions, is that your question? Is your question the Blue Demon? Is that what you're asking me, Drew? Is a Blue Demon going to make an appearance? Because if that's your question, my answer to you is I don't know. So for those who don't know, I guess I will just answer this question. We've talked about it on stream. Here's a little hidden gem for everybody. For those who watch Under the Tides, is probably where you're going to get these kind of like story pieces. Trickster played the Blue Demon in one of our biggest Athontia campaigns, which was a luchador based around the actual Blue Demon. And right. And the actual blue demon is a luchador in Athantia. We figure with the time frame, what's going on, wrestling was big, but we wanted to spice it up. And he has this way of playing these goofy characters that just work. And this character was serious and goofy. I mean, he believed wholeheartedly in his ability to be the blue demon and who the blue demon is and the lineage behind it. And like the character concept was solid. So when you hear the group say things like Akata Bomb, that is because the original time that Akata showed up was a New Bolivar, and they decided that the Akata Bomb should be one of the wrestling moves that Blue Demon does. This is Nora's fault, by the way, out of all people. If you're wondering who named this, it is Nora. We did a precursor to this, which was where she got those snazzy fucking suspenders directly from the Blue Demon, because we wanted to test side quests out and see how they'd work. So we did. We tested it out, and we did a wrestling match between Blue Demon and Black Cobra. They're like mortal enemies in the ring, but they're actually not enemies at this point in time. So that's where the Blue Demon comes from. And the artwork that I showed during our pre-show, I think on Tuesday, was just some artwork of someone did of the actual Blue Demon. Is outstanding. I cannot find that man's name anywhere who did. I know it was a wrestling site that I found it on, but amazing artist. And yeah, that's the Blue Demon story. Everyone here has played in Athantia besides Alan. Alan's the new kid for Athantia, and PF2 as well. He's the new kid, and he picked Swashbuckler. So I have something special planned for him on October 6th for our third stream of Athantia Dark Tides. It's going to be, I don't know if he's going to be happy about it, but I'm going to be happy about it. It's going to be great. But yeah, that's where Mir and the Blue Demon comes from. Now, I should probably ask the cast, like, is there any stories from Athantia that you think I should tell to help the audience understand the world better? That's probably a really good question. Like, Athantia has been around for a while for us, but for everyone viewing, this shit's brand spanking new. So is there anything that you two, three can think of that I should explain? Also, I should really show you guys, I should really show you the artwork. Oh, stop it. Your characters are my favorite. Are you kidding me? There's no depression there. All right. Do we tell that story? Should I tell the shenanigans of Samson? I think it'd be kind of funny. The Gravelighters. Okay. I will glaze over the Gravelighters. Oh, yeah, but Drew's a big softy. So the Gravelighters are kind of like the caretakers when people die. When you die in Athantia, your soul has nowhere to go. And because it has nowhere to go, they had to find a way to create purgatory. And there are these groups, and there's pockets of them known as Gravelighters. And they carry a lantern where the inside of it is a pocket dimension. It's like a new purgatory. A lot of times they're tied to another plane of existence as well. And there's one lantern per team of people, and they use that to capture the souls of people and kind of rehabilitate them in purgatory until they find a place to actually put them to rest, have it be in a relic with family members, a new body, or resurrection, or whatever it may be. Those are what the Gravelighters do. And they are, the lanterns get more heavy, the more souls that are in them, the weight of what they're doing is relevant to them because it actually gets heavier. And there's a bunch of stuff that happens with Gravelighters that I love. We almost made this a Gravelighters campaign. But because of what we're doing in the city, I have a feeling that we may see a Gravelighter at some point in time. I just think it would make sense for a ghost town if one were to show up. Also, they were the worst Gravelighters ever because they were lied to, and they were told their jobs were to assassinate people who cause problems within the story, and then capture their souls so they could be interrogated. And they found out way later that is not what their job actually was, through, I think, another group of gravelighters. So really, it was kind of crazy to see that dynamic. And I did that on purpose, because I was like, well, let's just see if they ever figure it out. Like, I knew where the gravelighters are going to be. And that was super fun. Samson was a orphan, and Kelly, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't he part of the Yellow Boxers originally? Wasn't he one of the Yellow Boxer kids? Or was he just an orphan? No. I take that back. He was an orphan in an orphanage. And she ended up taking him out because he had some information about something they were handling. And she adopted an orphan as a alchemist mother with some severe drinking problems. And she bought him out of the orphanage for 50 gales. And he ended up turning into this amalgamation of a rogue alchemist. I mean, he's Batman. Like, he was a rogue. He wasn't a fighter monk at all. He was a rogue alchemist. He was a rogue to begin, and he started picking up alchemy from Kelly's character. So he ended up being like this Batman-like character. It was an orphan taken in by like this savant alchemist kind of character. And it turned into this crazy story until the passing of her character, which I'm not going to tell that story because it is off. But it was also one of the most memorable moments that we have had in our tabletop career as a group together. And so, yeah, that's what Samson's all about. Super fun little kid. He's not little anymore. I mean, fuck. How old would Samson be at this time? He's in his teens, right? I think he'd be in his teens. We had to take more than 5. We took more than 5 after the ending of that campaign. That was like one of the most just serious things ever. I feel like I should tell the story, but I don't want to. I'll save it. I'll save that story for another time. I'm not going to ruin that one right now. Who else would be a really good... the years that we were running Athantia and you guys were working for Blackwell, and I was doing the old man voiceovers and sending them out. The recordings were great. So we did that for Blackwell. Blackwell might come up in this because the Hastings are kind of... they kind of deal with them. He was a barbarian... He was a barbarian fighter, Amir. I'm pretty sure. Are you rebuilding him? I'm assuming you're rebuilding him. Blackwell was super fun. So he was an old guy who owned, correct me if I'm wrong, he was ruby mines, right? Blackwell owned a bunch of ruby mines. He was pretty sweet. No, those will come up in game. Kadra and Eisenheim will end up coming up in game, so I don't want to give that away. I can say Kadra's the capital, is where the True Faith is. It is a theocracy, so the hands of the True Faith are the 4 elements. They're literally palms like this in like a clockwise fashion with a diamond in the middle. There's a red gem on the hand of fire. There is a blue one for the hand of water. There is a like aqua looking one for, or no, an opal for the hand of air. And then the hand of earth is onyx, I believe. Hand of earth has got like an onyx symbol in the middle of it, but they have symbols drawn in them. And then each one of those have a branch off them. So just for example, for our campaign, the hand of air, they usually handle all of the travel between cities. And they handled the sky fishing and stuff like that, because all the creatures that were once in the ocean, where the tides come from now, because the oceans are gone, it's just the dark tides. A lot of those things migrated and gained the ability to fly through this huge sundering, this event. And there's actually, I don't think anyone's ever discovered why the fish and stuff can fly now, but they are in the clouds. They hang in a pocket of clouds like water, and they are hunted up there and fished, I should say. and the Hand of Air helps deal with that. And then air marshals are the people who go, just like in air marshal in real life, they go from ship to ship or hired by mercantile guilds, and they make sure that everyone's safe and that pirating doesn't happen. They know a lot of stuff. They also negotiate contracts and terms for people, and that is what Oliver is training to be. And Douglas, his air marshal, the guy who came out at the end of the last episode with his Thomas arm, is the air marshal that he is training from. Douglas is going to be a lot of fun. Fighting off the Bleak is going to be hard. If you watch the first side quest, we really dive into what happened to Douglas. So that's that. So the True Faith is the theocracy. They provide water for the world. They are the people who brought everyone out of 4 years of darkness, started making dawn lanterns and daylight lanterns to push the tides back into the ocean with their fleet. And that's the short version of the True Faith. But the old gods, known as keepers, are still around. And there will be mention of them throughout the campaign. The True Faith sees a lot of them as just people following a falsehood that doesn't exist anymore. While there are others that are hostile and dangerous, and those are the ones that they kind of look into, that they have problems with. If you watch the second episode, the symbols on the boxes that they had, one of them was a ram's head and the other one was a silver skull. Those two symbols mean something to the keepers in the world. And keepers are special. Can't get powers from a god in this just from being a follower, unless it's the True Faith. They have to physically touch you, or one of their higher ups have to physically touch you. So you have like a one-on-one with your deity, and that's how you're granted your powers when you follow a keeper, because their numbers are so small. And that's why they're seen as cultists. Even though some of them are not. Like Nice, the keeper of water, is really not harmful to anyone. If anything, she'd be the goddess, the keeper that you would want to find in this world. So that's that. That's the keepers. What else did we have here? We had keepers. We had Cadra is the capital of the world. That is where the True Faith is. It's on a island with bridges going to it. It's just north of New Bolivar. When the world map comes out, you guys will see that. I just don't want the world map to be out yet. I want it to be really tight and on the region we're in before we really pan out to see what we're doing. So you are going to get a Merrifield map and in episode 3, which is going to be pretty awesome. And that will grow as we grow it as the cast and as the audience participates. So there's that. Anything else in here? Seeing if there's any other things in here the cast was saying we should talk about. Eisenheim is another city that was a major one we played in. They have the Thunderstruck Academy, which is where mages of evocation train, along with a lot of gas works that are there. They're a gas operated city, so all their lamps and stuff are gas. And then trying to think, firearms. The Eisenheim pump action shotgun was made in Eisenheim. That's pretty big. Meashan? Oh. Pump action shotgun. Yep. In the world, there's a place called Meashan. The people who are on the west of the mountains migrated to this metallic city. Think of Cloud City, but the bottom has a bunch of rollers off of it, and it rolls around the ocean bed in a specific area, and it is a big city that is built vertically, and that is where a huge piece of culture and group of people live, and they worship spirits as ancestors, which is where Jin is from, versus them being used to power objects. So their relationship is more about the embodiment of understanding of those who have passed to learn from them. And that's a crazy city, and they are big into clockwork, which is like finite clockwork stuff, like clockwork suits and stuff like that. And they don't look like steampunk. They are, man, I don't even know how you would describe them. They look like suits of armor. When you're wearing them, you almost look like a golem, like the way that they're set up. You look like a golem or a golem. pronounce it for you. So those are pretty cool. That'll be a great. I don't know if the group will ever go there. There might be some cards in the future we could do that are people from Maelstrom. That'd be kind of cool. What else would be good for me to explain to people? Oh, this is an important one. There are only 200 dwarves in the world. Let's leave that. I'll leave that there. It's 200 dwarves. It's not hate against dwarves because they're obviously favorite, but because dwarves always bury themselves underground when things go really bad and it doesn't involve them and their clans, they they locked themselves away, and unfortunately the tides got to them. So the numbers are only ones that stayed on the surface. So it's 200. So it's like the dwarves are a little different than normal dwarves. I love them. I think we only have one player actually play them besides a group of dwarves we did as an offshoot. Halflings. Which ones? Norlings? Is that what you're talking about? The Norlings? The original. They're like the original race of the world, the original ancestry of the world. So Norlings they are descendants of Nodarians. The Nodarians are the original race of the world. The new ones aren't. If you mean castlings are. Oh, howlings. Oh God. Howlings live in another continent. There are some here. Howlings are descendants of demons that live in an area where the screams of howlers are forever, because the world has a maelstrom in the middle, sort of a maelstrom, and it's in reverse. It's pumping out currents. It's shooting them out, and they are all different types of really powerful currents. Like one is corrosion, one is like frost and cold. This one they're talking about is the howling expanse, which is where all of the current coming out is howlers screaming, and it usually drives people mad. They're immune to it. They've grown to adapt to it, but they cover themselves in howler spines and have howler mounts, and they're just a crazy race. But they are playable in other editions that we played. What else would be good? Firearms are predominant in this world. They're huge. They are mass-produced. Single-shot are at a very cost-effective rate, but revolvers exist as well. They just cost a pretty penny, especially in Pathfinder 2. Is there anything else anyone can think of here before I close it down? I'm trying to think if I missed anything. Airships, you mean? Okay, so... Nope, not talking about the Never Never yet. That's just going to be a surprise. The ships... So there are different kinds of ships in the world. They all fly. A lot of them used to be naval vessels that have been retrofitted to have flight now. For example, the Whisper is a retrofitted naval vessel that has a Zeppelin. To help control it and have a smaller crew, they bind a spirit they fetter it to the ship. And in that ship is where the soul of Oliver's brother is. And that's how they help control the ship faster. They ask it things and it helps do things quicker. The more advanced ships that fly do not have like Zeppelins or anything like that to do it. They fly through the power of the soul that is bound to them, because a lot of ethereal things have flight, and this grants the ship flight. So really powerful ones may have entire families that are bound to them. There are different fuel sources they can burn as well to keep the spirit warm, to keep it moving and functioning quicker, like hellstones and stuff like that provide things. There are really advanced ships. There's very large ones. The Light Hammer is a well-known ship that was one of the original crewed ships to save everyone when the Sundering happened and the 4 Years of Darkness happened. That is when that came about. These big, huge, gargantuan ships, which I don't think anyone's ever found the shipyard for them or where they were built. It's something that's still a secret, so I'm not going to share that. But there's been a few of those ships that they know about. I think they know about the Lighthammer and the Gorgon. Those are two well-known, large aircraft carrier-sized vessels. True Faith makes some of the better ships right now because they get the best crafters to do so. What else would you guys need to know? Magic. This is important. When Voss hits the ability to cast level 3 spells, he is going to have to take a test to be licensed to have certain magics, because certain magics are deemed dangerous, and because they're deemed dangerous, they are kept away from Mancers until they are trained. So I'm sure one of our side quests, it might end up being one of our main ones. We will do his trials. And that is something that's carried on from a different game that we play. But I love the trials from Dragonlance. And I think that if magic was real, you would have some of these destructive magics held by people to make sure that the world is safe. Even if people are like, oh, gatekeepers are keeping it from us. Yeah, that's great. That's more organizations I can add to the game. People who hate that they're doing that. People who train them differently. Sorcerers still exist and whatnot. But the training is important. Like a fetterer has to be trained to be able to fetter legally. People still do it. Just that is the difference. You're either legal or illegally doing your magics. So that's pretty fun. And Voss's character works for the Emerald Order, so he specializes in fettering. I think that's a pretty good overview of the world and what it is and what everything's about. I'm gonna have to make some other screens for this. We're gonna keep going this deep. Maybe I'll do a side-by-side where you guys can look at some of the Roll20 stuff. But let me know in comments what you would like to see on Under the Tides. It's about the episode, the thoughts on how I did it and why, things that they could have done but they didn't do, and then along with little insights into Athantia. They're usually going to be 30 minutes, but as kind of a thank you for helping us hit affiliate here, I wanted to give a little extra time for people to show up and ask questions and do whatever it is, we're going to do. So I'm going to close out then. I'm going to change our song, though. This music's like jazzercising. Hold on here. Let's get the song that matters, everybody. Let's get the song that we're using for our intro from Darren Curtis here. So that is it for Under the Tides. Thank you for the cast showing up. It's awesome. We haven't really got to shoot the shit together. Instead, we've been prepping and doing stuff for this. So it's awesome to see the cast here. Thank you to Spigs for showing up, and anyone else who watches this later. Thank you for following what we're doing, getting us to affiliate in less than 30 days. That is a feat that I didn't know if we're going to be able to do, and I'm super proud of the cast of what we've put together. Thank you to our amazing animator, Snow Fox Flying on Instagram. She's names below. To Darren Curtis for the music that we are using. He puts out free music for anyone to use when they're streaming. To Harris Heller for the same thing, and to Arcane Anthems as well for music. If you are interested in more about the show, watch our previous episodes. You can find them right now on the Erik Frankhouse Presents Twitch. They will disappear from there because we are not partners, but we have them stored and they go up the following Monday. And on the following Monday, they go up to our YouTube. So check them out there. Follow. If you're following here, please follow us on YouTube. We put out the in-between weeks, our side quest. This Tuesday at 7:30 p.m., our second side quest will come out between Everston and Nora, investigating some of the estate around Everston's new place that he's trying to take. Well, not new, old place that he's trying to take back. And then to all of our sponsors, you guys are awesome. I've talked about you earlier in the episode and can't thank you enough for what you're doing for us. Norse, you're like family. You know that. So support them. If you're supporting us, if you're looking for new dice, check it out. And last, those who've already bought merch, I thank you. Every time we get merch bought, when we hit a certain goal, I'm handing out some stuff to the players in game as well. Last time we did hero points. Coming up, I'll look at how much we've earned since the last episode to the new one. I'm going to give out something else to the team as well, maybe a random magical item or something along those lines. Those milestones I haven't hit yet because I don't want to tell people we need X amount for before we do it. But once I see people are interested in our merch, maybe I will do that. And then stay tuned. You might see me here sooner than later talking about the Stream Loop cards on its own stream, probably on the week off between our episodes. So we have next week we're doing our side quest. The week after, I think I'm going to talk about Stream Loops on Tuesday night. Go through them, maybe maybe we'll try them out with some people. I'll give some free packs out in the thing and just see how they turn out and test them, have some fun, and enjoy streaming our favorite thing, gaming. Man, it's fantastic. So that is it for me. Alan finally, he came up with a saying, and I think we're staying with it for our saying. Where did he put it at? Where did Alan put our saying? Anyone remember who's here? I should put it in the party name. Looking for Alan. Let's see if I can find this for everybody for our sign out. I would feel bad if I don't use our sign out from now on. I'm gonna have to find it. I feel like a jerk. Well, then, no, that's not what it was. It was something like that. But I think if I remember correctly, until next time, stay safe and don't let the tides find you. It's something along those lines, but I don't see it in my thing. Well, it's not the tides keep you. I'm not positive. We're asking Alan if he remembers. Thank you to everybody who's watching. I thought maybe we could just figure it out, but I mean, I might say that. Yeah, may the tides keep you. I don't think you want tides to keep you. But that's it for me, everybody. Have a great day and be good to each other out here in this crazy fucking world we have right now. Enjoy gaming, play. If you have questions, reach out to us on Twitter, reach out to us in the messaging here, YouTube, you name it. We're everywhere. But until next time, everybody, stay safe and enjoy gaming.